Hey, how's it going? Wanted to give you a brief video update since you haven't heard from me since the new year. And I am driving into church, so I'm going to not be looking at your camera, looking at you the whole time. Anyway, so an update. Where are we with Secure Coop? This virus is throwing a large speed bump. Been watching this thing since it was starting to develop mid-January, just after I had sent my order for the circuit boards, and I watched this thing and said, oh goodness, it's not looking good. And of course we're thinking about victims there, praying for them, and that's really it's got to be very worrisome if you live there. And I got to thinking, boy, this is probably going to affect me. This is probably going to cause the circuit boards that I just ordered to be delayed. And sure enough, it has delayed them at least 10 days. They're supposed to be starting today. I checked the status just now, and they're still not started on them. So it was the new year. They have an annual holiday at the end of January where everybody takes a week off, and then before the end of the year everybody rushes to get their orders in, and after the new year starts there's a big backlog of orders. So I did expect that there would be some delays already from the new year, but then the virus has caused even more delays. During that time, I took a couple weeks off for personal needs. I had been so hot and heavy on Secure Coop development that I said, I need to just take a little bit of time out, focus on some personal needs, areas in which I'd been letting slip and fall behind. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you don't have enough left over to develop these cool new products. So I knew I needed to make sure that you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you help your neighbor. So anyway, with the virus going, my goodness, an entrepreneur, a good entrepreneur, will not look at a situation like this as a roadblock that completely stops you. Even if China is unavailable for the rest of the year, a good entrepreneur will say, all right, this is not a roadblock that completely stops things. This is a speed bump that slows us down, and we may have to figure out a different direction. So my plan B, which looks like it may be rapidly becoming plan A, is to buy a rather expensive machine called a pick and place. Costs about $2,500, maybe $3,000 for all the things that I need. And a pick and place machine takes little components out of the tray with a vacuum nose. It's kind of cool. And picks it up and turns it and positions it so that it can be placed directly onto the circuit board, where there's a layer of waxy solder paste sitting on the circuit board. So you lay down, you take a stencil, you lay down the waxy solder paste, you put it on the pick and place, you load up the parts, hit the button, and the little robot nose goes, and it's pretty cool. You're cool looking, and the prices for this one manufacturer in Shenzhen were so good that it was hard to justify the cost of a pick and place. But having my own would just make a big difference in my resiliency, which is, this is what Secure Coop is about, is your personal resiliency. So that's what I'm looking at, is picking up a pick and place, and I can afford it. It's a lot of money, but I can afford it. At the same time, I thought through how I was approaching the way that you would interface with your phone to the product. I was going to have it be a small web page that you load up in your browser, and you have to connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot just to do the initial configuration, not to do the ongoing monitoring would have been through your Wi-Fi router. But when you pull it out of the box, put it onto the coupe, the initial setup and configuration, I was going to have it be a small web page and a Wi-Fi access point, and that's universal, and it would have worked in all situations, and I understood it well enough to implement it pretty easily. But more I got thinking about it, a Bluetooth app, an app that you buy in the app that they get, not buy, that you download for free in the App Store, along with Bluetooth, it just made more sense in many ways. And I was looking at an app creator. There was an app creator that I was looking at. So, boy, this app creator does all that I need, and it's very simple to put together an app, and it would work for iOS and Android. And I said, my goodness, that's what I need to do. It just is a win-win all around, and it would, in my initial estimate, would have been less time to develop it than the route I was taking with a web page and with the Wi-Fi hotspot. So I was looking into doing that. I started experimenting with that and realized, oh my goodness, that is not going to work. Their app creator, while it technically could work, it was very buggy. So I said, no, we're not going to do that. But I still really, really, really like the idea of having an app. I mean, it's just compelling and it makes a whole lot of sense. So I'm saying, all right, so I can write an app. How do you write an app? Oh my goodness, you've got to learn a programming language that I've never knew very well. So I got to learn now JavaScript is something I've just not done very well with, and I've got to now learn JavaScript and learn a programming language, or the JavaScript is the language, and a couple of packages called Angular and Ionic, and between those we'll be able to write an app that runs on your iPhone, your Android, and Windows, and I think Linux, maybe Mac, but it's very handy, and I decided to go ahead and go with it. That is going to delay my development a little bit, I think. I can't imagine it's going to be a huge delay, but it's going to delay it a little bit more than had I gone with the original path. But I decided, that is just acceptable. I want this thing to be done right. I think you guys are just going to be really glad when it comes out, and we're just going to make it happen. So that's the update, and as of right now, I'm still waiting for the beta circuit boards back from Shenzhen, and if I never get those, I'll have to consider either buying the pick and place or finding another assembler, maybe in the United States or Europe. And the other thing I've still got to do is design out the enclosure and, of course, make the app. So that's the update, and I'm feeling fresh from my small mini personal retreat, and I'm excited to get back into it and do a lot with it. As you probably know, I have a day job. I have to work, go into the office every day, so this is what I have to do in my nights and weekends, and I do it as, a little bit here, a little bit there. There isn't a day that goes by that I'm not just doing something with it. So it is in progress, and I'm still very excited, and these are road bumps, but I don't think these are roadblocks. So, all right, guys, good to talk to you. God bless.